All right, good Tuesday. Let's talk No Kings EBT SNAP. In a few short days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 or 5 days, millions of Americans are going to possibly lose their SNAP EBT benefits. Full disclosure here, I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a Trump hater. It's a very sad situation that the United States of America is in, the greatest country on the face of this planet, with millions of people worried about their EBT SNAP benefits. Like I've said before, there are people who legitimately need these benefits. And there are people who completely take advantage of these benefits, whether they sell their food stamps to make money, they lie, they're using their children, whatever, that's their problem. That's between them and their God. But for the people that genuinely need these benefits, it's a very, very scary time to be an American. Worrying how you're possibly going to feed yourself and your kids. Single moms who do the best they can, who are working. I guess probably single dads who are raising their children, worrying about this. Grandparents who've had to take custody of some grandkids, a disabled person who can't work, would probably love to work, but has to depend on this service from the United States government. It's very scary. A scenario that I was thinking about today, I've seen a lot of traffic on Facebook, a lot of posts, I guess you would say, that on November 3rd, I guess is a Monday, people are talking about going into Walmarts, loading up their carts, walking straight on out the door. There's nothing they can do. They're not going to stop them. I witnessed that during COVID, shoplifting during COVID, a woman walking out with a huge bag of meat, and the chaos that it's going to cause. If it comes to this, if it comes to people going into grocery stores, stealing food, I want you all to think about how awful and almost just dumb that sounds. In the United States of America, possibly people are going to have to go and steal to eat in America. It's crazy. And don't put your political, your Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever you are, put that off to the side, because that's got us in this situation that we're in. You got two groups arguing like children. And let's just go ahead and touch it's all about healthcare. Why in the hell is the government in our healthcare anyway? Why? The government's in everything. And look at how that's working out for us. The United States of America is arguing and debating food, SNAP, EBT benefits. It's mind-boggling that this is something that the government is not willing to do anything about. Trump said he's not releasing any emergency funds. I mean, that's bad. That's just horrible. I've got my opinions on the man, and they're my opinions. But food, man, come on, think about that food. Food. This country wastes more food than watch that documentary on Netflix. I don't know the name of it, but it's about how wasteful America is. And we are a wasteful country. It's horrible. It's disgusting. The state of this country. It's just, we're waste. We waste and waste and waste. Okay. So, I live in the state of Kentucky. Andy Beshear is our governor. Good old Andy. King Andy, I refer him. During COVID, he did some things I did not like. Some things I did like. I stayed working during COVID. I made money during COVID. Never had to draw unemployment. Never had to get any Trump money. Never did anything. But Andy, gave the speech of, we're all in this together. And I believe it was my brother that said, we're in the same ocean, we're just not all in the same boat. While Andy was having people at church, having the state police write down license plates, shutting down restaurants, having neighbors tell on neighbors, Andy boarded a plane, a private plane, I'm sure, funded by the taxpayers of Kentucky, and headed to a baseball tournament in Florida. That's hypocrisy at its best. Do as I say, not as I do. Well, King Andy is currently, as I like to refer him to, Andy Beshear is currently working on his presidential campaign. I do not think the Democratic Party will nominate Andy Beshear. Andy Beshear does not fit the mold of what the Democrat Party focuses on, and that's racism, transgender, gay rights. That's what the Democratic Party ran on. It didn't work out for them. And I honestly do think that if the Democratic Party would have realized that Biden did not need to do anything and got Kamala Harris in there earlier, she would be our president. Who knows? Anyway, right now it seems to me that Andy Beshear is focusing on his presidential, because he's not referring to anything for the state of Kentucky and the state of the EBT SNAP benefits for the state of Kentucky. He is referring to everything as all Americans shouldn't be focused through this. All Americans, and it's true, all Americans shouldn't. We shouldn't be. But Andy isn't really talking about what he's going to do for people of Kentucky. Andy has now entered into a lawsuit to sue Trump. If I'm a resident of the state of Kentucky and I am seeing that my governor wants to sue Trump, well, you got money to sue Trump, but you ain't got no money to throw some food at these food banks. Me and my kids are looking at starving. Me and my disabled husband or wife, we're looking at starving. How are we going to make it? Like I said, people are contemplating the choice of whether I sit here and do nothing, or I go rob Walmart, Kroger, Dollar General, Family Dollar, your local grocery store. Am I going to make my car payment this month, or am I going to buy groceries? That's where we're headed. And once all the looting, stealing, crime, chaos breaks out, we've got Mr. Trump, who we know loves to call in the National Guard, which I don't have a problem with if it's actually working to lower crime and people do feel safer in their neighborhoods. It kind of blows my mind that Chicago, like the worst city for whatever, doesn't want the National Guard. But then again, if there's no problems, then the dude running for mayor can't be like, I'm here to fix all your problems. Anyway, so we're getting ready to look at national chaos. And when the National Guard gets called in, when the military starts policing the streets, what is that? That's full government control. So now let's talk no kings. So we've got no kings. I've got something. I guess my phone's cracked. So no kings. All these no king rallies. We don't want a king. We don't want a king. We don't want a king. Well, let me tell you, the government is all of ours king, because the government controls us. At any moment, the government can take taxes. At any moment, the government can seize your property. True story. I owned 10 acres next to an interstate. One day, me and my neighbor are sitting there talking, and she's like, you do know the state of Indiana is looking to put a on-ramp going west and where you can get on. If you're going west, you can get on going west. If you're coming back east, you can get off. Well, my property was on the get-off ramp. And I'm like, oh, so I can name my price. She said, no, the state of Indiana is probably going to offer us about $500 an acre. Back then, land was going for about $2,500 an acre, and I had 10 acres. I wasn't going to get anything for my property. The government is our king. I don't care how you look at it. But anyway, you don't want any kings. You don't want any kings. But right now, millions upon millions of people are going to be asking their king, where's my food? I don't want a king, but king, can you feed me? The government. It's crazy. It's crazy to me that we live in America, the land of opportunity, the land of milk and honey. And the biggest debate right now in Washington, are we going to give these people access to food? It's time for American citizens to come together. I don't care your color, because if you were hungry enough and somebody had food to give you, would you care if they were Republican, Democrat, black, white, Indian, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, whatever? You wouldn't care because you're hungry. You can control people when their stomachs are hungry. You can. But right now we've got Americans wondering, am I going to receive my benefits and be able to feed my family in America? I want you to think about that. Put your stance on your political party to the side, your religion to the side, and just think about that. America. People are having to make a decision on how am I going to eat. It blows my mind. It's sad. It's very sad. And if it happens and they cut off benefits, it's time not to be a shitty person, excuse my language, a horrible person, and help people. A guy I went to high school with posted something, and there's a lot of things that I don't agree with that this guy says, and I'm sure there's a lot of things that I say that this guy doesn't agree with. But he posted and he said, you're a lot closer to needing EBT and SNAP than you are to being a billionaire. It's the truth. At some point, everybody has needed help. And just, oh, not me, I've never needed help. Don't ever say never. Don't. Because, man, all we are is a couple of decisions from the United States government. And we're all needing help. And it's sad, man. It's sad. I know I've stated in other videos on my TikTok and YouTube, I know what me and my family's going to do, regardless of what happens. It's opened my eyes to the problem of hunger. I'll be honest with you. Very selfish in thinking I've got everything I need. Other people's problems are not my problems. But since recommitting my life to Jesus, I'm a lot more compassionate. I don't care the color of your skin. I don't care your religious beliefs. I don't care. I am commanded to love thy neighbor. I know what me and my wife's going to do, what our family's going to do, and I urge you to help. Regardless of whether these benefits are canceled or not, I urge you to help. The only king is Jesus Christ. That is the only King. And I urge you to seek a relationship with Him. I urge you to seek a relationship with God through Christ. If you've made it this whole 16 minutes, I appreciate you. Hit subscribe. God loves you. I don't know you, but I love you. Seek God. Seek Christ. Help somebody. This is America.